Malabharinakam Abhuta Sringam Talita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Kamalabarinakam Jaya Nrisimha Dev, Jaya Nrisimha Dev, Jaya Nrisimha Dev, Jaya Nrisimha Dev. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Lord Nrisimha Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Paraparamahansa Paraparachakracha Ashtottara Shri Sriman His Divine Grace the Boy Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Pratishtha Acharya Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jayananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sri Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Pavanitananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana ki jai. Vrindavan Mathura Dham ki jai. Navadip Sri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Sri Nrisimha Chaturdasi Mahotsav ki jai. Gangamai Jamunamai ki jai. Bhakti Devi Kulsi Maharani ki jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Sri Prabhupada. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 10. This is Prahlad, the best among the devotees. This is text number 13. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhogina punyam kushalana papam kala vishram kala jivana hitva kirtim vishudham suraloka gitam vitayamam eshasi mukha bandaha. Translation of Prabhupada by His Divine Grace. Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Prahlad, while you are in the material world, you will exhaust all of your reactions of pious activities by feeling happiness, and by acting piously, you will neutralize impious activity. Because of the powerful time factor, you will give up your body, but the glories of your service will be sung in the upper planetary systems. And being fully freed from all bondage, you will return home back to Godhead. Back to Godhead ki jai. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Evam pralaya dasham shina shidhana shidhatvam nitya shidhatvam cha nara dadij dvij yayam. There are two classes of devotees. There are sadhana siddhi and nitya siddhas. Prahlad Maharaj is mixed siddha. That is, he is perfect partly because of executing devotional service, and partly because of eternal perfection. He is compared to such devotees as Narada. Formerly, Narada Muni was the son of a maidservant, and therefore in his next birth he attained perfection, sadhana siddhi, because of having executed devotional service. Yet he was also a nitya siddhi, because he never forgets the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word kushalina is very important. One should live in the material world very expertly. The material world is known as a world of duality because one sometimes has to act impiously and sometimes has to act piously. Although one does not want to act impiously, the world is so fashioned that there is always danger. Padama padam jad vipadam. Thus, even when performing devotional service, a devotee has to create many enemies. Prahlad Maharaj himself had experience of this, for even his father became his enemy. A devotee should expertly manage to think always of the Supreme Lord, so the reactions of suffering cannot touch him. This is expert management, papa punya, pious and impious activities. An exalted devotee like Prahlad Maharaj is Jivan Mukta. He is liberated even in this very life, in the material body. Om Agyanti Midandasya Jananjanan Shalakayo Takshuram Nilitanjina Tasmaya Shri Guruinma Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namati Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharine Nivesi Saraswanyavari Paschatya Deshatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, so here is giving an excellent. Lord Nrisimha is speaking to Prahlad Maharaj, and he is saying that he's telling me, actually, you're a pure devotee, but still in the material world you have to act piously and impiously. It comes, the modes of material nature are pushing, you have to go along with them. It's very difficult to overcome this powerful energy. So Lord Nrisimha is telling me, but by my devotional service, then you can actually become free, because devotional service, it destroys all the pious activities and the impious activities. Whereas punya just destroys pious activities and pap destroys impious activities. The devotional service, it destroys both. It's just like it says, living in Mayapur Dham, it's so merciful that it destroys all your impious activities. And it's so merciful, it also destroys all of your pious activities. This is the nature of the Dham and the transcendental nature of devotional service. So, it's in the purple, formerly Narada Muni. There are two classes of devotees in sadhana siddhi and a nitya siddha. Prahlad Maharaj was a mixed siddha. Prahlad Maharaj is a mixed siddha. That is, he is perfect, partly because of executing devotional service and partly because of eternal perfection. Thus he compared to such devotees as formerly, as Narada, etc. So, the similar example is given in the 10th canto, when Krishna was calling the gopis to come to see him, and some of those gopis could not come there, in that they were somehow or another they were checked by their husbands, their fathers, so they couldn't go to see Krishna. So instead, they just meditated. Some were locked in their rooms, so they couldn't. So they just meditated on Krishna, and the ecstasy was so great. They had him in their heart. It was so great. The happiness that it burned up all the reactions of happiness that everybody has to come. So much pap, so much punya. It has to come. So the happiness of devotional of their meditation on Krishna was so great, it burned up all the pious activities, because happiness is a result of pious activities. So the happiness they experienced burned up all the pious activities. And the pain of separation that they were feeling, that was like burning up all the impious activities, because the result of impious activity is suffering. So separation, so-called suffering, suffering in the absence from Krishna. So that burned up all their bad karma, the pain of separation. And then they were able to go, at least next year, they were able to go and join the... So this is the potency of devotional service, and how the devotee is not really much interested in performing pious activities, although they're recommended throughout the Vedas. But simply by performing devotional service, everything is accomplished. Just like all the karma kanda activities that are performed, Shraddha rites and things like that, they're all not necessary for a devotee in devotional service. Because the devotional service is more powerful than pious activities. In fact, it's the namaparat, consider the chanting of Hare Krishna, the holy name, part of a Kamakanda section of the Vedas for fruitive activities. So then if you stop your devotional service and go do some Shraddha ceremonies, or go and do some Pinder and do things like that, offering to the forefathers, then you have to stop your service to do the Dharma. From the Dharma Shastra, it says you have to do this, you have to worship forefathers. It's the duty of a son. He has to do that. So, but when he does it, he makes namaparad and savor aparad also, because he stops his service to Krishna to do the ritualistic activities. So he does namaparad and savor aparad by performing these rituals. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami says that nowhere in any scripture of the world does it say that one should perform these Shraddha rites, these Pinda rites, etc., if he has taken initiation in a bona fide sampradaya with the holy names. For him, he is not obliged to follow any of these rules and regulations. He simply performs his devotional service, and like this, automatically, all piety and impiety is burned away by the devotional service. So Prahlad Maharaj, the perfect example of executing devotional service. Always praying, remembering the Lord. Yeah? Remembering. Yeah, that's right. He always remembers. Remembering the Lord. And the whole process of devotional service is so much more easier. We just got to think of Krishna and Krishna's pastimes. It's not just, we're not meditating on the tip of the nose, but meditating on the form of Vishnu with 4 arms. Our meditations on Krishna is that Krishna means Vrindavan means Soda, means Nanda, means the gopis, means the cowboys, means the cows, billions and billions of living entities in relationship with Krishna and all different activities. So this is the devotee's field of activities. He has unlimited. Prahlad Maharaj specifically emphasizes offering, remembering Krishna. And therefore he was always protected by Krishna. Om, what's that? Om Upavitra Pavitra Pundarikaksham, this verse. That one who remembers the lotus-eyed Lord who has lotus-like feet, Pundarikaksham, it's lotus eyes. He has lotus-like feet. He becomes purified inside and outside. He doesn't have to bother to perform any preparatory processes or prayaschitas or all these things. Automatically, by devotional service, one is situated on a transcendental platform. And Prabhupada says the devotee should always expertly manage to think always of the Supreme Lord. So it takes some expertise. You have to learn how to please the Lord. What is that verse I said? One who is done with lust, he has tasted the eternal, and Bhagavad Gita. He's done with lust. Oh yeah, he tasted the eternal. He knows how to surrender to Krishna. So devotional service is an art. We should learn to practice it. Yeah. And it's many, many features, but yes, the devotee should expertly manage his way that he can always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna at all times. That is real management of one's life. So Prahlad Maharaj is the example. He's always protected by Krishna. There's a picture of Prahlad, they throw off the mountain. And then there's a picture of Krishna waiting to catch him. But Prabhupada said it's not actually like that. He said Lord Nrisimha gave him the Lagima Siddhi. Is it Lagima? Lighter than the lightest? One of the 8 cities. You become lighter than lighter, heavier than heaviest. So Krishna gave him the Lagima Siddhi. So although he was falling around the mountain, when he got near the bottom, he was just like a feather just floated down. But anyway, Krishna was always there to protect his devotees, so we don't have to worry for anything. So, Prabhupada said, I've introduced this worship of Lord Nrisimha in our society for 3 reasons. To protect the devotees, to protect the Guru, and to protect the movement, the mission of ISKCON. So we don't have to go and bother Krishna or Radha Krishna or Mahaprabhu interfere with their pastimes, let their pastimes go on. We approached Lord Nrisimhadev for this, to remove all the different material obstacles in our path of devotion. So Lord Nrisimhadev is very famous for that. And he likes to do that also. In the history of the our Lord Nrisimhadev, our deity form, when we had this deity made, everybody was scared to make it. All the Shilpis, the people who make deities, they said no. Nobody worships this deity. Nobody worships this deity. There was the last people who had worshipped this form of Sthana Ugna Nrisimha, his name. Sthana means the pillar, the column, and Ugra means angry, Nrisimha. So this is the point where he's just burst from the pillar. This form of the Lord here, this most ferocious form. And so the Shilpi, he said, nobody makes that deity. You make a deity so you can approach him and you offer him and you can ask for some benedictions. You should ask benediction. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when you go before the deity, you should ask for something. He can give anything. But we're in want. We are lacking. So what we need, we can ask for Lord Nrisimhadev. Help us in our devotional service, or to remove the obstacles. And but this form you can't approach. Lord Brahma couldn't approach him. He just burst out the pillar. He's been tolerating all of these atrocities that Prahlad Maharaj, he's been putting under an elephant, throwing in snakes, boiling oil, all these different process of trying to kill his own son. What was I saying? Yeah, that's right. So he's so angry, no one can approach. Even Lord Brahma couldn't approach him. After some time, they could push Prahlad. He came for you, Prahlad, actually. So you can go and pacify him. We can't. All the demigods were there. They couldn't do anything. So the Shilpi said that you install a deity so you can worship it, but this deity you can't approach him. Lakshmi, she can approach. Only Prahlad after a little bit of coaxing. And some people say that's the reason why generally Lord Nrisimhadev deity is worshipped only by brahmacharis. Because actually out of all those people, although Narad was there, but they pushed Prahlad forward. So he said the last persons who worshipped this deity, they had gorgeous worship, elephant processions every day. Gorgeous. Now that place is a ghost town. Everybody's left and deserted that place. Nobody's. Is that what you want for your ISKCON? Everybody will desert. So, anyway, he contacted his Guru Maharaj, who was the Guru of the Shankaracharya of the Shankaracharya's mat. I can't remember. Yeah, he was a guru of the Shankaracharya mat, and he asked, "Can I make this deity?" No, he said, "Don't. You don't make that deity for ISKCON." Then later on, the Shilpi was trying to get someone else to make it. The devotees actually were trying, different people they can make the deity, but they all refused to make it. It was scary. So then after some time, the devotees went back and to see the Shilpi, and he said, I can make that deity. He said, oh great, hey, what about your guru's order? He said, no, I had a dream, and my Guru Maharaj came to me in my dream, and he said, you can make that deity for ISKCON. You can make it. And in the morning, he said, when I woke up, a letter came through the letter box, and it was a letter from my Guru Maharaj, and he's saying, you can make the deity for ISKCON. So I can make it now. So he said the reason is that this deity is coming to Sri Mayapur. And when Krishna comes into this material world, he brings all of his avatars with him, all the different forms and incarnations. And devotees, they all come with him to assist him in his pastime. But they all take on the same mood as the predominating deity of the Dham. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the predominating deity in Sri Mayapur. So everybody takes on his mood. Here it's all now as Bhakta avatars, so they're all in the mood of Bhaktas. And so because he's coming to Mayapur, then he'll take on that mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He'll become like Adorju Dham, he'll become generous, he'll become very merciful in giving Krishna consciousness, tasting Krishna consciousness, giving Krishna consciousness to others, to assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his movement. So Lord, although we say we should not approach the Lords, demigods, or what to speak of, but we shouldn't approach even the Lord for any kind of material benediction. We always hear that in the devotional service. But here, Lord Nrisimhadev, he likes to remove the obstacles, the material obstacles. For him, it's not material, of course. And for the devotees also, it's not material. We're asking to remove obstacles in our path of pure devotion. So the idea is, we want pure devotional service. So he removes all the obstacles. So we don't have to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Radha and Krishna to remove the obstacles. Lord Nrisimhadev does it. He helps to do that. So he gets and he likes to do it also. Maybe someone wouldn't like it, to accept all someone's sins and things like that. Or all their pup if they're devotees. But Lord Nrisimhadev, he likes to remove the obstacles, because in this way he gets to serve the devotees. He's becoming in that mood of a bhakta, and he gets an opportunity to assist in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission by serving the devotees, by removing all the different obstacles. So the Shilpis, then in that way you can make the deity and you can bring to the Dham, because he'll be in the mood of, this is Adorya Dham, generosity, it's one of giving Krishna consciousness. So this is this form of Lord Nrisimhadev is very dear to Krishna. He likes three forms very much. That is his original form, Shamsundar, and Lord Nrisimhadev, and Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra, he enjoys playing as an ideal person. He's so human-like, practically unhuman, because of the suffering he went through. You can never. That's more than anyone. Nobody can complain actually about suffering in the material world. When you see Mahabharata and Ramayana, the suffering of those devotees, we'd never even match that suffering. But Lord Krishna, he likes to be like that. He's really like an ordinary man. That's why the incarnations of the Lord are quite easy to understand when he appears as a giant tortoise or fish or a pig, monstrous in size. People find it easy to understand. He must be Vishnu. He must be Vishnu. But when Ramchandra comes, he looks like a henpecked husband. He looks like an ordinary man. So Lord Krishna really likes his playing as an ordinary person. His Braja Lila is also very ordinary. And yeah, so Ramchandra, Prabhupada said, Ramchandra, he could play the flute if he liked. But he doesn't, because Krishna does. But he could do. He is that close to Krishna. So Nrisimhadev, and they're kind of extra special. And I think they use the same process when they appear here in the material world. Generally, the incarnations come through Kiradakshai Vishnu. He manifests all the different avatars and things like that. But when Krishna comes, the original personality of Godhead, on the 28th millennium, one day of Brahma, so at that time the original personality of Godhead comes. But he doesn't come through the agency of Kiradakshai Vishnu, he comes directly. He's the source of Kiradakshai. He's the avatari. So he doesn't have to go through the avatars. He directly he directly comes, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. Because I can't remember where I heard it. Lord Nrisimhadev and Ramchandra, maybe they come the same way, also direct in this. Because anyway, these forms very much like Krishna. He very much likes them. So. So this deity was made. And we're all scared to worship. Atma-tattva probably was the main inspiration to bring that deity. But Bhavananda had a dream. Remember we had a dacoit attack here. The dacoits came in. Very ferocious. Dacoit means like bandit. And they just come, they don't care for anything. But the thief, he will come when it's dark and there's no one around. But dacoit, no, they come with axes, breaking off the locks on the doors, had bombs, they have these handmade bombs that explode on impact. And Bhakti Raga Maharaj was there that time, got one bomb on his leg. Yeah, they get drunk and they just break down the doors, brute force, and anyway, Bhavananda had a dream. And he saw the incidents. He saw the dacoits come to attack in the temple. And then suddenly he saw this form of Lord Nrisimhadev. He jumped out and he started, all these dacoits, and he started tearing them all apart. And like, Hiraniki is ferocious. And he woke up in the morning and he was really startled. He said, I think we should get a deity of Lord Nrisimhadev for protection. So then we, so eventually Atma-tattva drew a picture of Bhavananda's explanation. Then he went to Chennai, I think, to him. And he saw the picture. He said, this is Shtanda Ugra Nrisimha, very dangerous feature of the Lord. Yeah, so anyway, eventually they made the deity and brought to Mayapur. And Even coming here, they put him in a truck of sand, so he doesn't move around so much. Had to come all the way from South India. And usually when you're coming from different states, from border to border, they want a little bit of bakshish, a little bit of bribe. What do you got in the lorry? What is there? A little bribe. So he said, every state we went through, and they said, what are you carrying? And I say, he had a picture. He said, Sthana Ugra Nrisimha, please go. Please go, no need for any. They wouldn't take any bribe that when they saw the picture, please go quickly. So then he got back, and then they said, okay, you're going to worship Lord Nrisimha. I said, I'm not going to worship, no way. Pangadanga, you will worship. I'm not worshipping Lord Nrisimha. But he asked all the pujaris, everybody refused. We had been hearing all these scary stories. So everybody refused. So then finally Pangadanga said, they said, Panga, you have to do it. So then he was, but we were really, really scared at first, after hearing all these stories. So I was sitting in front of Lord Nrisimha, meditating on Lord Nrisimha, and then I thought, oh, Nrisimha, oh, it's you, Madhava. Same vibration was there. Oh, it's just like Madhava. And all my anxiety went, all my fear went. It's Madhava, it's Krishna. Why we should be frightened of Krishna, afraid of Krishna? So he performed many pastimes here, especially when he was first here. I think he liked to be in the Dham. He was quite active, and he was moving around in different places. One day he went to Gopinath Mandir, Bodhan Maharaj, Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj's man. Now Bodhan Maharaj is the Acharya there. But on one Nrisimhadev Chaturdasi, he was staying up late chanting, and then he kind of dozed off, and then again he woke up, and he said Lord Nrisimhadev was sitting there in his room. He said he had a red cloth, same as the one you have for him. So he woke up, and then he told his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he said, well, we're very fortunate. Had the darshan, Lord Nrisimha gave him darshan. So go and do some puja for him, thank him for it. So he came, and he told me what had happened, his story, what had happened, and he had seen. So Lord Nrisimha was quite active, he was moving around, I guess taking some Dham darshan. And there was another devotee, Baba Shri Das. He was doing the puja for some time. And one morning he woke up, he was sleeping in the Brahmachari ashram, used to be on the chakra building on the ground floor. Used to be the Brahmachari ashram. And so he woke up in the morning because the bed was shaking. He had a bunk bed, one bed on top of another. So he thought, the other devotee's getting up for Mangalartik and he's shaking the bed. So he woke up and he opened his eyes, and Lord Nrisimha was sitting on the end of his bed. And he was really scared. And Lord Nrisimha said, no need to be so scared. He said, be peaceful, peaceful. He said that when you're doing my puja, there's no need to be in anxiety or fear. You should serve me with a very peaceful mind. And when you wake me up in the morning for Mangal Artik, he said, you switch on that spotlight, strong spotlight in my eyes. He said, you put small light first, night light. Small light first, and then after you wake me up, then you can put the spotlight on. But no need for, be peaceful. Abhaya. Then he disappeared. Then Babasiri, he jumped up and he was running up and down the corridor. And the devotee is saying, "What's happening? What's happening?" Couldn't say anything. He ran to the temple before Mangalarati. He just paid his obeisances in front of Lord Nrsimhadev. And then he became peaceful. Then he went back to the ashram, but he said, "I wondered why everyone was staring at me." And he said, "Then I realized I only had my coping on." He only had his underwear on. There was another Mataji, her name is Atma Vidya Mataji. She's married to Gokulananda, English devotee. And she had some problem with her eyes since she was a small girl. So she was praying to Lord Nrsimhadev, "You're famous for removing obstacles in devotional service. So I've got my eye problem. But if my eyes problem could be solved, then I could serve you much more nicely." And what had happened, one devotee, he was collecting stones and semi-precious, and he had some of these cat's eyes, what we call cat's eyes. They're big, brown, translucent. And he said, "You can offer these to Lord Nrsimhadev. They look really good like eyes." So we tried them on, and they look really good, big brown eyes, nice. So he said, "Okay." So we decided, okay, we'll put them on. So we put his big brown eyes on. And yeah, so then this Mataji, she went to the altar and she paid her obeisances and she was praying to Lord Nrsimhadev, "If you can make my eyes better, then I can serve you more nicely." But she's and then the voice came from within, and it said, "Tell the pujaris to give my eyes back." So she thought, was that just an imagination? Did I hear that, or was it an imagination? Then again the voice said, "No, you just go and tell the pujaris I want my eyes back. Don't worry about your eyes." So I don't know what to do. And then the voice said, "Just go up in the pujari room and tell pujari, give back my eyes." So then she told me what had happened. No, she came up to see me. I was in the pujari room, and she came up and told me what had happened. And I said, "Okay, I'll find out." Because a lot of people, they have all kind of weird dreams. You can't act on every dream. And some of them are completely wacky. And but Prabhupada said, if things happen in the dream, is real in the dream world. If you dream of Krishna or Guru in a dream, it's real. But it happens in the dream world. Not necessarily you have to translate it to this three-dimensional world. So, so we checked out Pankajang, we checked out a few people, make sure these people weren't, we are some of her friends, she's not one of these persons who always has these visions. Everybody says she's a very sane Mataji, very so then we put the eyes on, and they were really, really nice. And but Lord Nrsimha, I was meditating there. And then dictation came that I'm Ugra Nrsimha. I'm ferocious, angry Nrsimha, and you give me these big, beautiful, doe-like, big brown eyes. Well, I want my angry eyes back. So I told the pujaris, They said, it seems right, seems okay like that. Yeah, so we put the angry eyes back after that. Ugnashinga Bhagwan ki jai. There was another Mataji, Gopurnima festival time. And she came and said, I want to give Lord Nrsimhadev some mangoes. I said, well, you can't get the mangoes, it's out of season. If you go to Calcutta, you can get in cold storage mango. Why you want to get mango for Lord Nrsimhadev? She said, well, I had a dream last night, and Lord Nrsimhadev appeared in my dream. And we were walking and talking, he was holding my hand. We were walking and talking. And at one point I asked him, how can I serve you? He said, well, I like mangoes. He gave me some mangoes. So I said, so anyway, after the festival, just at the end of the festival, Gopurnima festival, then she came and she said, I got mangoes. She gave me a bag of mangoes. She said, can you please offer them to Lord Nrsimhadev? I said, this Mataji, I told the Pujari, this Mataji, so fortunate. Lord Nrsimhadev personally appeared in her dream, held her hand, gave her instruction. She's so lucky, so fortunate. She said, yes. She said, actually, there was more to the dream, but I did not tell you. I told my Guru Maharaj, he said, don't say anything. Now I can tell you. She said, Lord Nrsimhadev said to me that very soon, in a day or two, I'm going to take one of your pujaris back to Godhead. And she said, oh no, don't do that. We like our pujaris. He said, oh, okay then, I'm going to take one of your leaders. And then just a couple of days after that, on the the disappearance of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, His Holiness Govinda Maharaj, he was sitting in the Lotus building in his room there. Few devotees, he was talking Gauranga and Jagannath Lila, separation, the highest mood. And then he said, I feel a little bit something and let me take a little bit of rest. Jai Govinda Maharaj ki jai, Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. So he took him back to Godhead. Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. Okay, 8 o'clock. You can see I have many stars. But now it's darshan. You can see the real thing. Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gopra.